Hampshire, Mr. Guinta is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Chairwoman Matz, as I stated in my opening statement, financial institutions across the nation are merging or consolidating at what I would consider a pretty alarming rate. And that concerns me because, to me, that represents less access to credit for a whole host of individuals, for a whole host of needs that families, average families, require. There were 12,891 credit unions back in 1990. And today, I believe we have about 6,200, according to the first quarter data that you put out. So would you talk to me a little bit about, over the last 25 years, why there were so many consolidations? And if you think, what, if any, portions of Dodd-Frank would have something to do with that, or if you don't think Dodd-Frank had anything to do with that, I'd like to know that as well.
Well, we provided some slides just in reference to that last question. Slide 1 shows the decline in federally insured credit unions since 1990, and you can see the trajectory started early and has just continued after Dodd-Frank, that it did not start with Dodd-Frank. So personally, I don't think Dodd-Frank was related to credit union failures. But it's a sad story, and it's one that's been very frustrating to me, because we lose about 250 credit unions a year, and that's been consistent for the past 20 years. And it's a result, I think, of not being able to achieve economies of scale, of not being competitive in the marketplace, and frequently a manager who has been running the credit union for 25 years decides to retire, and there's no succession plan, and the board realizes that their members could probably be better served by merging. So the vast majority are voluntary mergers. We have an Office of Small Credit Union Initiatives, which I helped to create when I was on the board last time, which works with small credit unions, provides consulting services for them, and they have helped about 600 credit unions grow from the definition of small to large. So in that number there of losses, that includes some credit unions, I believe, I might be wrong, but there are about 600 credit unions that aren't considered small anymore because now they're over the limit. But it's a source of frustration because the small credit unions frequently are located in areas where there are no other financial service institutions. And so we really try to work hard and do a lot of hand-holding and have exempted small credit unions from a number of our regs, so that we can, where we can, to mitigate the regulatory burden on them.
Okay, so you, because of the trajectory before Dodd-Frank, you're saying Dodd-Frank, because the loss post and pre are essentially similar or identical, you're saying Dodd-Frank has nothing to do with?
I haven't seen any evidence of it.
Okay. When I talk to bankers who are running credit unions in New Hampshire, they talk to me about the regulatory burden, the compliance requirements. Anywhere from 10 to 30% of their time is now focused on regulatory. So I couldn't speak to pre-Dodd-Frank, but I can tell you that post-Dodd-Frank, that's the single largest concern expressed to me by credit union executives. So how would, if that's what they're telling me and they're on the ground, it doesn't, it's not consistent with your opinion relative to Dodd-Frank.
Well, I just haven't seen evidence of it. I know that there's a burden on small credit unions. There's a burden on all credit unions, but small credit unions have a very difficult time dealing with the regulatory burden. But it's the regulatory burden in general. You know, it's not necessarily, the one I hear most about is BSA, that they have a great deal of difficulty complying with BSA. So if I had to pick one, that would be the one that I hear most about. But, you know, I just can't answer that. I just don't know, but it's very frustrating to me that we are losing so many small credit unions, and we work hard to meet with them and to see if there are ways that we can change our policies so that we can help them out.
And in New Hampshire, we're about 1.3 million people, so, and we're very community-based. So I understand the concerns or the items that you ticked off, economies of scale. I disagree with that because in New Hampshire, we tend to go look to our local community bank or credit union for help. But I would invite you to come to New Hampshire with me, meet some of these credit union execs, because I'd love to
I would
have you
welcome
here.
the
I think
opportunity
the
to do
gentleman's
that.
time has expired.
you.
I would like to do that.
Thank you, Mr.